Hi everybody, this is Robson talking to you today. I have a special guest here with me and I just wanted to give you a little background before I let the guest of honor speak. So this is a very difficult time upon us right now. Those of us in business, we are facing times that neither us nor the generation before us has faced, so everything is very much new terrain, right? As a business consultant, my clients right now we're working very much on adjusting to the new situation, managing sales, business development, processes, systems, all the stuff that nobody likes to do, but we must do it if we want to stay successful in business. And this is why my guest today is Mr. Peter Beckenham. He is a sales and marketing coach. He's actually my sales and marketing coach. And I've been his client, doing homework somewhat very well for the last few years. And I can tell you that he's so far the best specialist in sales and marketing from the heart I've seen and met. And it is my greatest pleasure right now to have these few questions to ask him and share with you, my friends and colleagues, so that we have an extra bit of knowledge and support at times like this. Hello, Peter.
Hello, Anna. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, as I said, I'm very excited about having you chat with me and by proxy with my people. And I just wanted to give a little bit of information about you quickly.
Okay.
And then I'll let you continue a little bit of introduction about you. But Peter is an Aussie. He's an Australian, but currently he's living in Thailand in a very small remote village where he spends a lot of his time and a lot of his work helping build schools for the children in the village. That is his goal, and that is one of the reasons that my heart went out to him and I wanted to work with him right away, because talk about having a really good reason to be in business. You know, that's coming right from the heart. He's been in business for 36 plus years. He's been training corporate, non-corporate, and sales and marketing for all of those years. And the last 20 of those in online. So he has a lot of experience. He has seen a lot of evolution in sales, in attitudes, and how to build rapport with your clients and colleagues, how to build networks. And obviously at times like this, my first thought was I need to talk to him immediately and share some information with my people. Peter, I hope I said everything correctly and I didn't mess up any numbers, any information.
That's fine.
But if you can share some more, that would be really appreciated.
Well, I've been around for a long time, Anna, as you know. I mean, I'm a very transparent person, so I'll tell people. I mean, I'm going to be 75 this year, and be quite frank, when we think about these current circumstances with the coronavirus, I am a prime candidate. I mean, not only am I'm an oldie, but I've also got heart disease, and I've also been through a very severe bout of pneumonia just 2 months ago. So I have to be very careful, but at the same time, people might think, well, why in the hell are you working? Well, I'm working because you just answered the question. I'm working because I have a mission and I have a why. Because in my little Thai village, the average income per family per month is less than $150, okay? And most of the children are taken out of school when they're 14 or 15 years of age to work in the rice fields. And that's just a vicious cycle of poverty. So I decided what I wanted to do, because I can only sit for so long and talk to the buffaloes, right? So I needed to do something that's constructive. And that's the reason why you see me online. I just took, and I was 16 years as a school teacher before going into sales and marketing. So I took the teaching skills and the sales and marketing skills, combined them into a coaching format, and I use that to help me finance the education of the kids in the village. And I'm proud to say, Anna, it may be a minor thing for people in your neck of the woods, but I'm proud to say that not one child has left school before the end of high school for the last 9 years.
That's
And that
amazing.
to me is a big plus.
Oh, yes.
Okay. And we've got 2 who are at university, and that is unheard of in this village. So that's the reason why you see me. That's my driving force. That's what gets me out of bed in the morning. But it's also what makes me enthusiastic about life.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I think it's amazing that people like you do this kind of work, right there on the ground, doing the good work, helping the people right there where you can tangibly help, and that's also a great example of why you're in business is so important, right? When you have that why that's bigger than yourself, all right, it gives you so much boost when you're low, and we all have those moments, and a lot of us are especially having those right now, of course, too, right? So having a strong why, a strong reason why we are in this and why we are doing this is
absolutely critical, Anna. Absolutely critical. And why you're in business is not just to make money. Okay?
No.
That's a means to an end. I didn't mean to cut you off, sorry. But the key issue is, what will that money do for you, your family, your lifestyle, your mission in life, whatever it may be. You need to dig that deep. Because if you don't have that, if you just have money as an object, you will not get through the tough times. I can guarantee you right now. You won't get through these times right now. You need something that truly drives you.
Yes, I agree. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and I'm going to give you as much time as you want to address them, because as you know, I'm morally opposed to rushing brilliant people. And I would like to start with the first question, if you're ready.
Okay.
So as we've established, you've been specializing in sales for a long time. You've seen a lot. Would you say that the way we sell and how we approach the sales process right now has changed in the last, let's say, 10, 15 years?
Well, let me start by saying one of the reasons why people have an issue with sales is the very word sales. Okay? And because it's got connotations that go with it. Everyone has been stung and ripped apart by experts and sold all sorts of rubbish in their life, okay? So there's a huge amount of suspicion and skepticism surrounding the word sales. And I'll just let you into a secret. Another one of my missions is to be the oldest online coach in the world, okay? I want to keep going. And why? Because I want to actually get people to see sales as something completely different, which I'll share with you during our interview today, okay? But over the last 10 or 15 years, what has been the major change? I mean, you can go back 20, 30, 40 years if you want to. Okay? The bottom line is, in previous times, the actual client, the potential client, the prospect, whatever you want to call them, right? They didn't have the information. The information was in the hands of the marketer. The marketer provided the information to the client, okay? These days, it's completely different. The client is in control, because you and I and anyone else can use Google and find out whatever we want, okay? So therefore, the reason for the marketer to approach the potential client has got nothing to do with information, because they've already got it, okay? And they have made a decision about whether in fact it's of interest to them, or et cetera, et cetera. So really, to me, that's the biggest change. Plus, the growth of online sales versus offline sales, and which I will share with you a little later on in our session together. But online sales requires a completely different set of skills to offline sales. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, and I have seen that as well. And as I know you know, and my colleagues know, that I really believe that if we continue teaching the same way we taught sales 10, 15, 40, 50 years ago, we are doing a disservice to both ourselves and our prospects for not taking the time to understand those nuances, as you said. We're no longer just educating the clients. We are not holding the reins of control like this. So this already automatically means there's some adjustments that we need to make to the information that was taught previously and was provided as what we should be doing with sales. You know?
I think one of the key issues, Anna, is in this day and age when people are far more educated in terms of what's available, but also far more skeptical and far more suspicious, okay? You, as a marketer, need to earn the right to talk to the potential client. That's the difference. That is the key difference. And the way you earn that right is to give value. Okay, and if you can't give value, and that value has got to be important and in the mind of the person you're talking to, not what you think is valuable, but do they think it's valuable? Can they see value in them? Because be quite frank with you, when you spend, and I'm talking as a marketer now, okay, I'll call myself a salesman, right? Whatever it is. To me, I need to be able to make sure that the potential client knows what's in it for them to spend any time with me. If they don't know that, then there's no reason for them to spend time with me at all. Okay? And in doing that, I need to make sure I give value, and I'll come back to that word value later on in our discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important to remember that as business people, the responsibility is upon us to make sure that we are able to convey the value so that the potential client or prospect sees it. It's, in my experience, it's not the fault of the prospect for not understanding the value. It means that there has been somewhere along the lines I missed something as the one who has the responsibility to convey.
Absolutely true. Absolutely correct.
Yeah, I really do believe that self-responsibility is something that we need to address more as business owners, for sure. And that goes into our next question, which is, you know, with all the sales training and marketing training available for us, you know, online, offline, webinars, master classes, all of it, you know, there's just such a barrage of information we can get our hands on, free or paid, right? And we always hear about essentially the very same thing. You know, you need to be authentic, you need to build rapport, but then you also need to be more aggressive, not to taking no for an answer and so on, you know. And I know that having worked with you for some time right now, you have a very different approach, a permission-based approach to sales and the way of talking about your offerings. And I was really hoping you can tell us more about that.
Well, this probably is the crux of the success of any person in sales and marketing. And before I answer that question, Anna, people need to understand this. If you are running a small business, right? I'm not talking about a corporation now, but if you are running a small business, then you better accept the fact that you need to be able to sell. You may not like me saying that to you, but if you don't get any sales, you haven't got a business. That's what it amounts to, right?
Of course.
The key issue then is to how to get your mindset around this thing called sales that's been putting you off for so long, because it's just one of those terms that brings forth in your mind some, like a used car salesperson with the gold chain around their neck and the Hawaiian shirt and the big cigar. the cigar hanging out their mouth. You can picture that, right? And
Well, I
promise
have a
you
gold
the
chain
world.
on.
Right? Okay. And they promise you the world and deliver you nothing, all right? And
Mhm.
that's the thing. To me, and I will talk about permission-based marketing because that is critical in terms of your success as a business person. The
Agree.
point is this. Earlier, I alluded to the fact you need to earn the right to talk to a potential client. Okay?
Mhm.
But this is how you do it. And I think this may be of help to people. Okay? First of all, you need to come from your heart, not from your pocket. That's very important. And if there are people watching and listening to this thinking, oh, this old guy from Thailand is just talking a whole lot of soft rubbish. No, absolutely no. I run a business just like you. Is my business successful? Absolutely, it's successful. And the reason it's successful is because what I'm about to share with you. You need to understand that the word compassion, the word
Mhm.
integrity, and the word permission are the critical factors in your future.
Mhm.
So 4 steps I would suggest you take with any
Mhm.
potential client. The
Okay.
first one is to empathize with them. You need to show that you are prepared to listen and understand and be interested in them, not
Mhm.
interested in what you've got to offer. Okay?
Mhm.
Empathy is critical because you actually mentioned before a lot of training goes about teaching people about rapport. I can't
Mhm.
remember what she said, rapport and whatever it is, but the
Oh,
rapport,
authenticity.
yeah,
I think I'm.
yeah, and authenticity. Well, unfortunately, Anna, the rapport and authenticity that has been taught by many people is very, very superficial, all right?
Mhm.
Because what they really want to do is get the sale. What they really want to do is get the money off you and get going,
Yeah.
get the heck out of there, right? And
Yes.
that's why you said they also need to be more aggressive. Well, I can tell you, being authentic and building rapport and showing care and integrity and love and then being aggressive don't mix up. They don't go together.
Oh,
It's impossible, right?
absolutely.
So the first stage, I'm not going too long, am I? Because this is my passion.
No, I'm keeping an eye on the time. Don't worry.
Okay. Okay. So the first stage is empathy. The second stage is engagement. And just to let you know, there's 4 E's. So the first one is empathy. The second one
Empathy.
is engagement. Engagement.
Okay.
Engagement means you are prepared not just to listen, but to go deeply with the client, right? In other words, you get your objective as a salesperson, as a small business owner, as a marketer, whatever you want to call yourself, right?
Mhm.
Your objective is to get your potential client to achieve clarity about what's important for them.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, many people are trained, you need to ask questions. Well, they ask a question, so I ask Anna a question, and what I'm trying to do is think, oh, I hope she gives me an answer I can sell something to, right? And so you
Yeah.
give me an answer and immediately I jump, yes, I've got something, I can solve that problem, right?
Mhm.
That is stupid, right? Because what you need to do is realize this, that the first answer that Anna gives me is probably nothing near the truth, not because she's lying
Mhm.
to me, but simply because she hasn't gone through a process of identifying what's really important to her because no one's done it with her. That's a
Yeah.
key point. Or she did that to get rid of me, okay? That's whatever it is because of
Mhm.
this age of suspicion and skepticism. So therefore, you need to dig deep. And when I say dig deep, it simply means you need to guide your potential client through a series of questions that enable them to get real clarity about what's important to them right now. Okay? And what you're doing is providing an incredible service to them and an incredible value, because you're not mentioning any solutions. You're not mentioning your product, your offer. You're just helping them to clarify what's important to them. Okay?
Yeah.
Then you look at where are they now and where they want to be in the future. And that's old-fashioned stuff, but it's still relevant. But the difference is this: how they get from where they are now to where they want to get in the future is completely changed. Completely changed. And what you need to do is give them the ability to actually find the strength that they need to actually make the changes, whatever they may be. All right? So the second one is engagement, and that requires quite a lot of questioning. The third one is to educate. Now, when I say educate, it means you need to stand up and be totally transparent and honest with them and be prepared to stand on your values. There may be times when your potential client is talking about a whole range of things that are way off tangent, that they are completely way off from reality. Most salespeople will say, yeah, okay. But if you are truly authentic, you would say, stop, Anna, stop. That is not right. I need to help you understand something. You need to have the intestinal fortitude to educate people as to what is right about their thinking and what is not right. Okay? Again, you're not talking about your product. You're just talking about them and their thought processes and their mindset. All right? And of course, I mean, in older days, salespeople never talked about mindset. Okay? They just talked about their product features and benefits and all that sort of stuff. The third one is educate. And the final one is to empower. In other words, you guide your potential client through a process that gives them clarity, right? And then you empower them to make a decision as to whether they want to do something about it. And if so, that's up to them, all right? In other words, you're not trying to push them, you are empowering them. And a simple way to empower them, I'll give you a little simple secret, all right? If you've done it right and you've built the engagement and you did the empathy right, you do have rapport. They are grateful. They are truly grateful for the service you've given them, okay? They've got clarity about what's important to them. And so I simply say to you, Anna, tell me, what do you want to do next? Okay?
Yes.
If you want to think in terms of traditional sales, that's the closing technique. But there's no fancy closes at all. What I'm doing is giving you the power to make the decision.
Yes.
All right? Now, they may or may not do business with you. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is this: you can't satisfy everybody. But if you've given compassion and integrity and love from the start and getting their clarity, I can tell you, you've built a huge relationship with that person.
Yes.
They may not become a client, but they will become an advocate.
Absolutely. And you know, it's possible that they are not a client now, but they will be in the future. And by treating them with respect, you're opening yourself to potential in the future for some kind of potential, you know, either referral or just a good colleague or just somebody who says, you said it's an advocate, right? But instead of cutting off your own potential opportunities, you're building your opportunities from the heart, as you say, right? With this permission-based selling, which is, you know, as I said, as you know, I'm a big fan of, you know. Yeah. And then, so if you look at permission-based sales and, you know, how sales are, you know, usually taught, and then versus what you teach and how you teach your clients to work. You know, and we look at the world right now with this pandemic, with the whole new stress of owners, business owners are scrambling to get their businesses online as quickly as possible. You know, as everybody's panicking, you know, especially, you know, the brick and mortars that have to close. People who have employees or contractors to pay, right? It's, of course, we're all in the very same boat. Is there anything that you can suggest that they take a look at or consider in their rush right now? Because right now, the rush is caused by panic. When we panic, we usually create mistakes and we burn some bridges. And is there anything you would recommend we, as business owners, look at before we start clicking buttons and subscribing to all kinds of online platforms?
Sure. One critical factor is this. For every business, you need to have some sort of cash flow budget. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're in business right now and you don't have any cash flow, and that could be possible, right? That could be very possible because of what's going on. You might think, well, Peter, how the heck can I have a cash flow budget when I haven't got any cash? Mm-hmm. Well, think the other way. Think in terms, within a cash flow budget, there are costs. Within the cost, there are fixed and variable costs. The fixed costs, like the utilities tax, to keep your doors open, all right, and put the food on the table. The variable costs, they are the ones you need to look at very carefully right now, because maybe you can do without them. This is very, very important, okay? Mm-hmm. To me, the only variable costs I would retain would be those costs that are going about improving your ability to build your business, to build revenue, or they are already creating revenue. If they've got nothing to do with potential or future revenue generation, they should be put on the shelf. That's the first point, all right? Next, when you're thinking about a business to go online, and that's the point of the question, Anna, is that right?
Absolutely, because I see a lot of people clamoring and find that I see people fall into a trap of band-aid solutions, which, as you know, is one of my biggest no-nos in life. So, you know, right now people are figuring out, I'll do this right now and figure it out later when things are more stable.
Well, think about this. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I was pretty much done, because I was just wanting to mention that there's also a trend where we're thinking people think it's the end of their businesses, right? And we're not taught as business owners to look at creatively for opportunities, even within such a horrible situations such as this, right?
Correct. But with COVID-19, there is also unprecedented opportunities. Okay. Now, I don't want to sound crass in any way, shape or form, and I feel for those who have lost loved ones. I feel for those who have lost their jobs. I feel for those who are under a credit and a cash issue right now. I truly feel for them. But we've got to keep things in perspective. As a small business owner, you've got to accept the fact that maybe 70% or 80% of the population are still being paid. Even if they're stuck at home, right? They're still being paid. Secondly, they are at home, and therefore they've got more time than ever before to either consider or look at whatever you're trying to talk about, okay? Mm-hmm. But bear in mind, when you are approaching these people, you are approaching them from a permission-based thing, not cold calling, and I don't believe in that, okay? But these people have the time, they actually have the capacity. So when you're moving to an online business environment, it doesn't matter what platform, whether you use LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever from a social media perspective. Just be aware of this. For the first time in nearly 10 years, email open rates have soared, right? Because people have the time to read your communication.
Yes.
Secondly, social media posts are getting more likes and comments than ever before.
Yes.
Okay? So there's opportunities for you to move online. But remember this, people buy people, they don't buy businesses. So what some people do, sadly, is they put their business online, they create a website, and it's all about ABC, proprietary, limited, etc., etc., etc. That's not going to work, okay? People aren't interested in that. People really by people. So in other words, by all means have your website there with your company information, but in the middle of it all should be you. People need to identify who in the heck you are, what you stand for, what you believe in, what is your why, which we referred to earlier. This is critical because then people will think about maybe looking at your company, but without you being in the equation, there's no chance. Absolutely no chance at all. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I think that's very important to remember, because that's another piece of teaching from the past, where business is separate from the personal, and that line has been very much blurred with the years, right? Especially with the advancement of personal brand, right? And influencers, and we look at businesses more in terms of transparency, in terms of what do we stand for, how do we stand for it, right? And that's, for example, as my favorite example of permission-based sales that I learned from you basically the first time I met you is, and I hope it's okay that I'm sharing sharing this. You know, we were introduced by a joint friend, and I remember that we had a Zoom call, and you asked me if I'm okay with you sending me a little video where you're talking a little bit about yourself and, you know, who you are, what you do, and why you do it. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's the thing that really stood out and still stands out for me, that you didn't just drop a video in my, you know, message box assuming that it's okay because we already spoke once. You took the moment, the time to take the consideration to ask. Of course I would say yes, right? However, the reality is, because you asked, I saw you treat me with so much respect by not dropping that information without permission, right? And I think that's something that I would like to see us do more, because I find that we lost in our rush, daily rush, that small talk that people seem, oh, it's just a waste of time. It's not a waste of time. Small talk is where we bond little by little, little by little, right? It's the respect that comes with it. It's learning a little bit about each other, right? And I think that this is something you teach, not to hurry and push and be aggressive and putting the screws to your prospects, right? But taking the responsibility to do things right now so you have the longevity in your business.
Correct. And as a small business, remember the 4 E's, right? Empathy, engage, educate, and empower.
Empower,
if you've got those in your mindset, then you're halfway there. Okay. The other thing is this: as a small business going online, one of the driving forces should be, what is the buying experience that people will have with you? Mm-hmm. Think that through. Not what can you sell, not what are the features and benefits of your product, but what is the buying experience they will have dealing with you. Okay.
Absolutely.
Very, very important if you want to succeed online. And unfortunately, many people miss that very simple point, but it's critical. It's truly critical. Okay.
Agreed. I 100% agree, and I do believe as business owners, we sometimes forget that we need to design all the parts of our businesses, how everybody experiences our own business, how we experience the business as business owners, our clients, how do they experience our business, our employees, contractors, colleagues, random people on the internet who see our marketing material, how do they experience that material, right? So it's all something that, I mean, that's something that I teach as well, right? Process design, but I think that I wanted to thank you for taking the time to talk about this. I also want to share...
Can I mention one other thing with you?
Absolutely.
There are 4 C's that small business should take into account as well. The first one is to communicate. Now, when I say communicate, it's not the normal understanding of the word. Communicate means to get people's attention, right? Because if you don't get their attention, it doesn't matter how viable you are, how valuable you are, how ethical you are, it's not going to count because you didn't get their attention. So you need to get their attention, and the way to get their attention is to build value and to let them come to you if you possibly can. I mean, that's the reason I've done 550 Facebook Lives, for example, right?
I was going to mention that, yes.
Yeah. So the first one is to communicate. The second one then is to connect. And by connect, it's very similar to what I said with engage. In other words, ask deep probing questions to identify what's important. The third one is to converse with them. In other words, have a conversation. You could call it a sales conversation if you wish, but this is a conversation where the client is the focus, not you. Okay? And you need to show the client that you truly understand, that you truly listen to them, and that you really can see where they want to go, and then you confirm with them your understanding of that. Very important. And the final C is not convince, right? That's traditional sales. That's when you talked about earlier about not taking any no's. The final C is create. And that means you sit with your potential client and you create the best possible solution together with them and give them a buying experience where they feel control of the situation rather than being sold to. Okay?
100%. This is, you know, something that we're not truly told because it seems like it's a more complicated, lengthy process, right? But it is, as I mentioned, this is done for longevity in business, not for the immediate sale. Right? Because immediate sale is implies a user approach to your prospect, that you're using them in a way, right? Whereas
Correct.
what we're trying to do is to be of service to them. And how we approach the sales process will let them know how we'll respect them in this process, whether we're using them or we are truly there for them, which we are, you know, most people in business are really there to serve. Right, so a good sales process and technique, as you know, what you teach, is key to this authenticity that people are craving and don't know how to make it work, right? So,
and by the way, authenticity means being transparent, and that means showing that you're not perfect, showing that you have limitations. I mean, Anna, people don't want to deal with an expert, believe it or not. They want to deal, I mean, the whole point is not your credibility, it's your relatability, okay? Provided you know what you're talking about, if people can relate and resonate with you, then you can have a discussion. If you come across as some super duper guru, right, then they're not going to be able to relate with you at all, and they'll be too darn shy to open up with you in the first place.
No, people don't work with people who makes them feel small.
Correct. Correct, and that means it's human nature, but that's the changes people need to put into their sales approach, if you want to use that word, compared to what they used to even prior to the pandemic. This is even more important than ever because people are scared. People are uncertain. People are not sure, and they don't want to make the wrong decision, okay, because they're not sure about their future funding. So therefore, you've got to help them go through the process of identifying, is this really important to you, Anna? If it's not important, let's not do it, okay? But if it is really important to you, then how can we go about solving this issue for you?
I cannot agree anymore with this. And I want to ask you one last question, which is how, if anybody wanted to connect with you, how would they go about it?
Google.
Google.
Beckenham. Or you can connect with me on Facebook or LinkedIn. I mean, I'd love send a friend request or send a connection request, but with the request, simply put a small message saying that you watched this video. So then I know where you came from. Okay, I'll be delighted to do that. And I'm happy to share whatever I can with you.
Absolutely. And I will, oh, sorry, please continue.
Well, I mean, this is a passion of mine, so I have to be careful I don't overdo this. But let me just quickly add a few more things. Do you mind?
Go ahead.
One, never put the screws on a prospect. Ever, ever, ever. Don't ever do that. Okay? That's the way to really kill your integrity and kill your authenticity, right? Because they'll see straight through that. Okay? Secondly, give the potential client options. If your product is, say, $500 or $1,000 or something, then consider giving them payment options. Okay, which is, I know it's nothing new about that, but think about that, because you may be cash strapped right now and the $500 is important to you. But if people are prepared, I don't know, $199 a month for a period of time, that is better than nothing, right? So be prepared to be flexible in your payment methods. And the reverse applies. If your potential offer is a monthly payment type, then why not roll up the other way and say, look, if you want to prepay up front, I'll give you a significant discount. Okay, so that's ways that small business can actually help the client with their revenue and help themselves with some sort of ongoing monthly revenue itself. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Creativity and flexibility are very important for all business people.
Right. So you got to open your heart.
Yes.
You truly got to open your heart. You've got to embrace the struggle that we're all in right now. And you will learn from this struggle. We'll get through this, right? You will learn from this struggle. And be quite frank with you, the learning will make you a better you. A far better you, a far more useful and effective you. So love yourself enough to feel that you deserve success. Love yourself enough to feel that you are worthy of achieving success. Do not sit on the couch right now watching Netflix feeling sorry for yourself. Use the time constructively. Reach out to people on a regular basis. And here's a simple thing. And as an example, over the last 1 or 2 weeks, I have been sending out messages on social media. And the messages are simply this. Hi, Anna, thinking about you. Please stay safe and stay well. Okay, that's all I say. The reaction to that has been incredible. I mean, it's got nothing to do with sales, but it's everything to do with caring, sharing, and giving some love to people. And without that being an objective of mine, 2 clients came from that. And I didn't do it for that reason. I did it because I wanted people to know that I cared. Because as a small business, if you care, then they perceive the whole business as a caring business.
Yes.
Okay.
People always feel the truth of us in some way. They always feel the desperation, and just as much they will feel our authentic caring, if we do authentically care. So in my experience, that's why I truly believe we have to be investing in ourselves to be able to convey this to our potential clients and prospects, because that's the key, right? To doing it in a way that we can also sleep at night and feel good about ourselves and not feel like we possibly have, put the screws to somebody and feel guilty about it somewhere deep inside, which is also quite an unpleasant feeling. So again, I want to mention that I will drop your website in the comments if people wanted to check it out. I know you don't realize it maybe yourself, but I have read quite a few of the articles you've written, and I think they're phenomenal, which is why I want to leave the website there. I found information there that's very well written and comes from a very understandable point of view, so I want to share that with people.
Okay,
And
it's the ugliest website on the internet.
It's not the ugliest website on the internet, I can assure you. I've seen really bad ones.
Okay, but it works. And it
works.
What you see is what you get.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to thank you for sharing this information with, my friends. And I'm looking forward to seeing you very soon.
Okay, Anna,
Thank
it's
you.
my pleasure. And if I could just help just one person listening to this, then I feel blessed.
I'm convinced you have. This is very, you share so openly, you share very good information, and you share a point of view that is not often shared. So I think that, and that's why I've chosen to have this conversation and record it with you. It's not a real interview, right? It's more of a conversation on a selected topic that I thought would be of use to the people in my circle, based on the conversation I've been having lately, and
Delighted to share, Anna. And please stay safe.
you as well. And thank you so much. And thank you everybody who is watching this video. And I hope that if you are interested in what you heard, you connect with Peter. As you can tell, he's very friendly. So just shoot him a message saying, hi, I saw the video with Anna and I want to say hello. And just connect, keep it simple. Don't worry about it. I know we sometimes are very shy, but if you want to connect, always connect. That's the
I can tell
rules.
you one thing, you won't be sent a link, okay? But because I practice what I preach, it's called
Uh,
permission-based marketing, okay? Anyway, enough of that.
okay.
Thank you, Anna.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.